welcome to a special edition of Advocates, the podcast. We have here today Tommy Thomas, the former Attorney General of Malaysia, who's caused quite a stir as a result of his book, My Story, Justice in the Wilderness. Hi Tommy, welcome to Advocates, the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Your book, My Story, Justice in the Wilderness, was quite unique in that it is part autobiography and part memoir of your time as AG. Why did you decide to write it in that manner, as opposed to just a straightforward memoir on your time as AG?
Well, I had to give a context, a bit of a background. I thought that if I started writing just prior to G14, which was May 2018, and then the election of the Pakatan government and the appointment of Tun Mahathir as Prime Minister, and my subsequent appointment, if I started the book there, I thought it will not give context and background. So I wanted to introduce the reader to a bit of my career and my background.
Well, the response to your book has been tremendous. Spent a couple of days, if I'm not mistaken, on the Amazon's bestsellers list. You received both brickbats and bouquet. As of the 7th of February 2021, I read there have been 134 police reports against the book. There are articles and blogs and writings supporting you. So my question is, were you surprised by both? By the response to the book and the vehemence of that response?
I wasn't surprised at the criticisms and the direction from which it was going to come. That was foreseeable because that was very much the theme in my 20 months in office. So that wasn't surprising. What surprised me was the reception by thousands of Malaysians and actually Singaporeans.
But with regards to the vehemence of the response, 134 police reports since 7th of February 2021, articles defending you and defending your rights to say what you just said. What do you have to say to this?
Well, first of all, apparently it's more than 200.
Okay, now, okay, right.
I guess the number surprised me.
Yeah.
But the direction from which it came, it was the same group of people who were complaining and protesting about, first of all, my appointment and whatever I did or did not do in the 20 months. So that group of people who were objecting to my appointment and therefore to the book was not surprising.
Right, Tommy, next question I want to ask you is this. The part that has gathered the most interest is obviously on the tumultuous, I suppose, 20 months that you were the AG. In writing it, you basically set down for the record events that took place behind, well, mostly closed doors, and your own views and perceptions of those events. What did you hope that the intelligent, far-minded, reasonable reader to take away or understand from reading about your time as AG?
There's no doubt in my mind it was a contribution to the history of the period. I have emphasized many times that I wanted to be a reforming AG in a reforming government. So as a voter who wanted change prior to becoming AG, I was thrilled when G14 happened, and then I was part of the government. So to record what the government did, and of course sadly it fell after 22 months, fell prematurely and unexpectedly. So I would say my first objective was to place on record, at least from my perspective, what the PH government tried to do and achieved, and of course failed. You mustn't forget that often contemporaneous writings, whether by journalists, reporters, and those who participate, represent the first draft of history.
That's right.
And hopefully in 30, 40 years' time, when real historians look back with the benefit of hindsight, and hopefully the archives being open, then they look back and they say, okay, where shall we start when we write about the 2-year PH government? And they would look at the newspapers online, and hopefully they look at my book. So that was very much in the forefront of my mind, to add to the literature of that period. You
described yourself just now as a reforming AG. That was the intention. Some of these reforms were achieved, some were kicked into the long grass or watered down, and some were derailed. Which were the ones that you were most proud of, and which were the most disappointing?
I think the best thing that we ever did was what I described, and I think the credit must go to Syed Sadiq, the minister who pushed it, which is the lowering of the voting age to 18 and the compulsory registration. I mean, in a sense, it's not a novel concept, but I think how Syed Sadiq did it was a masterpiece of how laws ought to be made, because he had to get a 2/3 majority.
That's right.
But he charmed everybody and got 100% as unanimous support. So in a sense, it's a bit disappointing now that you hear those who unanimously supported the bill, who are now in power, are holding back and not wanting to implement it. So without doubt, that was a crucial period, and I think one of the few times we had unanimous support in Parliament for a bill. I think the worst failures were the ones that are haunting the opposition and civil society now, that we didn't address the Sedition Act, the MCMC, the fake news, quite a few controversial bills which were really waiting to be repealed or amended substantially, but we didn't do anything about. And the death penalty. I would say that the death penalty was an opportunity missed.
Overall, will you do it again?
But coming back a second time, no.
Being AG.
Coming back a second time, no. Absolutely not. I think the Prime Minister Mahathir's return shows how dangerous it is to come back. No, I enjoyed it, but that's it. Move on.
Right. Thanks so much, Tommy. Thank you so much.
Pleasure,
right. Listeners, hi. So tell us, which was the most interesting part of Tommy's podcast to you? The most interesting answer wins Tommy Thomas's best-selling memoir, My Story, Justice in the Wilderness. Thank you so much for listening and viewing.